Let go of what doesn't work. Remember to take a laxative on New Year's Eve so you don't go into the New Year with the same old shit.
That's a bar.
That's a bar.
Okay?
That's a shirt.
That's a shirt.
Are you willing to go into the cave of your mind? The subconscious part, where memories are stored. Into the cave. Are you willing to go into the cave of your heart, where trauma lives? Are you willing to go into the cave of your life, to look for the skeletons that need to be examined? Remember our choice. To find your voice. I know. Are you willing to choose the cave when times are rough? Things get rough. When you've had enough. I know sometimes. Are you willing to go into the cave, into the void, into the quiet spaces of your being, to find your true self? Into the void, into the cave. So this is how we start.
Yeah.
Getting comfortable. I think I need a few breaths just to kind of ground and sink in to the space. So if we can take some collective breaths together, breathing in through our nose, breathing in, holding it, releasing it out of the mouth. We'll take another breath in through the nose, breathing in, and releasing it out of the mouth. And one last breath in through our nose, breathing in, and releasing it out of the mouth. Okay, we are here. We have arrived. This is episode 9. Wow. Episode 9 of Into the Cave. First, I'm just grateful to have you and you here. You all will understand who these magnificent people are. Actually, you probably already know who this magnificent person is from episode 5. Yeah, I believe it was episode 5. I hope that I'm saying these numbers correct.
You are.
Okay.
It was number 5.
Okay, yes it was. So from episode 5, we have Mama Scoti, back to share her wisdom.
Or something.
Or something. If you saw episode 5, you already know this is going to be a good time. And this is actually Ojoré. And Ojoré, I would love for you to just share who you are. Now, at Into the Cave, we don't do the generic, like, bios. This is what I've done. It's who are you? Like, what do you bring to the world? What are you going to be bringing here? And how do you feel?
I think I'll answer those backwards.
That's fine.
Starting with how I feel. I am a little nervous. It's my first time doing this in a while. Usually I'm behind the scenes helping organize things like this. Grateful to be here and appreciative, really, of being like requested, you know, flattered, if you will. Yeah, I want to give you props, right, for doing this and so consistently at this level. It's definitely worthy of congratulations.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
First of all.
Thank you.
You feel me? It takes a lot to be consistent with something like this.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Thanks.
So, yeah, and then who am I? That's a tough question. What do I bring and to the world, into this space? I like to learn. I really love to learn. That's my favorite thing, to just like learn something new, and share what I've learned, maybe what I've been learning, and with the intent to learn more, you know. Yeah, that's all I got, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you why this is my godmom, and I've learned a lot. I know that you all have a little bit of background on GMA when it comes to the spiritual concepts and perspective of what she brings, but she's also a real life historian of sorts. Like, she has so many degrees, a lot. I'm just saying, like, I think people don't know. Like, how old were you when you went back to school? You got your master's.
MFA?
Yeah.
Which masters? I've got 3.
You see?
Nice.
You see?
Which is crazy.
What schools?
I went to Rutgers for my undergrad.
Okay.
I went to Pacific Oaks for human development.
Human development.
Pacific Oaks is a Piagetian-based school that deals with the humanities in a different way, particularly human development. Looks at the scope of life and life cycles in a very particular way.
Okay.
So I didn't want to do a degree in social sciences that was based on a model that didn't have a flexibility or an adaptability. So I went to Pacific Oaks.
Gotcha.
Very avant-garde, very white, really challenged me to deal with all those Birkenstocks and granola eating folks.
Love me a good pair of Birkenstocks.
They're comfy.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. But what was really interesting is what I found is there was an affinity, because what we basically appreciated was our respect for nature and identifying ourselves as one with the one.
Nice.
So during my time there, because I'm notorious for leaving and coming back. When it wasn't working, I'd say, see you.
Yeah.
May soon come back.
Yeah.
So the next iteration of that, there were more people of color, and there were some dynamic people that were there from indigenous cultures from throughout the global experience.
Nice.
Then I did a master's degree in organizational systems and structures.
Nice. Okay.
Because
This was at Rutgers?
no, this was at
Pacific Oaks?
Fielding University.
Fielding, okay.
And I left there because it was just too structured and it wasn't flexible enough. So then I left and I was in the world, went back to school at, how old am I? I'm 73. I graduated in 2016.
Oh, wow, recently.
Yeah. And got an MFA, and I was recruited by Suzanne Lacy. So if anybody that knows feminist artists, Suzanne Lacy is like the feminist artist for socially engaged art. So I was kind of recruited to this program, and it was called Socially Engaged Art. And I was like, this is just what Black folks do. We work in the community and we do things and we change and transform things. So then I got an MFA in that. I do not have a PhD from a credentialed university, but my life experience has given me more than a PhD.
Right.
By the way, pausing you for like
No,
2
go ahead.
seconds. By the way, it is Black History Month. It's part of the reason why these two individuals are here, because they both have a wealth of knowledge, and we're going to go into some more details of different individuals that you all should know about, that unfortunately society probably doesn't want you to know about them, because you would be inspired to actually be the change, you know, and like do what we should be doing, like gathering.
What you could be doing.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you could be doing. It's about possibility. So history for me is
Really good
not
point.
relevant. What's really more important is how people want to tell their story, the narrative. And there's a wonderful woman, another white woman that I love. Her name is Lucy Lepard,
Okay.
and she talks about the power of naming. But her work as a writer, she writes about the power of naming and controlling your narrative. And if you look at ethnology as opposed to anthropology or some of the other social sciences that look at the other, primarily the approach that I was trained in by Catherine Dunham was to not make assumptions about what I'm observing, but to allow myself to be invited by the community to witness. So I'm a witness to culture. And when I talk about culture, there's a difference between witnessing and thinking you're talking about somebody else's stuff. So I witness, and then I create experiences to share with others so that they can experience just what I have observed and understand that it's decontextualized because of me, and I frame it like that.
Nice.
So I'm an ethnologist, but not really working in the discipline of the canon, really looking at it in terms of what does it mean to be the other, inserting yourself in a cultural context when you weren't invited, and how do you become invited? So
That's beautiful.
that's what I do.
Yeah, that was a brilliant description of that experience. I'm beginning to understand why you curated us to be here right now. So yeah, I'm grateful for that. It's a pleasure to sit, learn, and listen.
I just like your voice.
Oh, thank you.
It's smooth. No, but you know what? You know, they talk about the eyes being the window to the soul, but the voice resonates with a rhythm and an energy that really speaks to a lot. So like you walk with an ancestral energy that comes through with that depth. Okay? That depth.
Yeah.
So when I asked you where your people were from, they may have come from Panorama City or Pacoima or whatever, but it's that Mississippi and the pre-Mississippi that resonates in that voice. That comes from that root chakra that vibrates all the way up so that you start creating whatever it is that you could be creating.
That part. I have something to say about your voice.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, later.
No, right now. All right. No, right now. I'm going to say it. Now, it's not going to be directly about your voice.
Okay.
But every episode, there is a spirit animal into the cave. Okay? So we'll do a little break because this is a beautiful time in terms of the timing of us talking about the voice of what spirit animal is our spirit animal of episode 9.
Yeah.
Okay. So, wait for it. It's a little bit of a story, and
Okay. I'm down for a story.
Okay.
This tea is fire, by the way.
Yeah?
You know what I'm saying? Just quick.
You feel relaxed?
Not
yet.
I feel like the levels of flavor in the tea, which is rare for me with tea. I don't know what it is, but it's fire though.
This is the spirit animal of episode 9. The bat. Now, how is this?
That?
That was my
Listen,
question
okay.
originally.
So, let me tell you how I found this book. So, I'm always thinking about, hey, what's the message for episode 9? Because as you know, when I called you, you guys are like, what are we going to talk about? And what did I say?
I think you said that it's going to be like a conversation, we're going to flow, and I don't think you wanted to tell us what we're going to talk about so we can freestyle a little bit more. That's what I took from what you said.
Yes. That's exactly what I said. So when I'm in my private space, I'm like, okay, so what are we going to talk about? Because I have no clue. What's the spirit animal? Please give me some support, right? And I'm taking a walk. I was leaving the treatment center that I work with, and there was this box of books. And this book was just on the floor. It was just like laying there. And I was like, oh, it's the bat. So what about the bat? Okay. Now, bats use echolocation, right? Echolocation. And I'm like, okay, so this episode is about legacy, history, right? The darkness, like us really embracing what that is. It makes me think about how we need to organize, how we used to organize, right? Bats, they roll in colonies. And I'm going to open the book so you can kind of see what it looks like. But it's one cave they find, and they all just rest together, right? They're nocturnal. So they navigate the night. A lot of people don't know that bats are also responsible for pollination. We think about bees, right? The bats also are supporting with the growth of nourishment
Yes.
for the human. So I'm like, okay, I hear the bat. What does this mean, echolocation? Okay, I'm thinking about the Underground Railroad. I'm thinking about when we would play the drums, right? The talking drum, to know like, okay, we're communicating with each other, right? I'm thinking about really organizing from an underground space versus protesting where it's outward, where we have these targets on our back, you know, like the Black Panther movement maybe, like really providing health care and support for our people. So when I think about the bat, and then I have a vision of like what that would look like for us if we actually came together. How do you stop this? If we really were to come together like this and organize like this.
If you're going to go into Underground Railroad, what you have to understand is that there were cues. There were songs. So like one of the most famous songs that everybody knows is Wade in the Water. It wasn't Wade in the Water, it was Wait in the Water, because God's going to trouble them waters. It wasn't God, it was a cue to let you know they're chasing you, take your ass to the water, because the dogs can't scent you there. The other thing, another one is another song that was a lot of kids played with Juba this and Juba that. Juba skint a double cat, bend all over, double trouble Juba. It was a song of protest that was a cue on the plantation to let people know that something was up.
Okay.
And that we were not accepting what was so. So when you talk about echo, the echo is, what is an echo? How does the echo occur?
Back. You have to say something first and then it comes back. Or make a noise.
It's something that resonates and vibrates. It doesn't come back. It vibrates through a sound that in certain chambers, certain spaces, travels thousands of miles. That's why echolocation is powerful. That's why the bat symbolically is relevant to this discussion. Not about organization, but how do you impact an experience using echolocation? Flip the linguistics here,
Right.
and get to the power of understanding something like echolocation, and allow your spirit, not your intuition, but your spirit to guide the flipping of that.
Yeah.
So that what happens is, as you create, you understand it's the echo that travels. That's why a Blanco Afro in Bahia can understand what was going on in Colombia and Buena Vista because of something that was happening in Oakland with the Panthers.
That part.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it was not about the political resistance. It was about the community possibility and transformation and the feeding, not of just the intellect, but the body, mind, and spirit.
Right.
And who guided that? A woman named Marie Branch, who was a nurse at the time, who became one of the earliest Black chiropractors, who helped the Panthers set up the free food movement and the health centers in Oakland.
That makes me think about Dr. Tolbert
And her
Small.
daughter, her grandchildren are my godchildren.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
See,
It's
that's
like-
legacy. So that's the legacy part,
We
right?
call that being tapped in.
Right. When I'm even thinking of the voice and the wisdom that you gave about echolocation and how healing the voice can be when you have that timbre, like your voice, right? When you have that soul, right? That spirit, as you said, not intuition, but that depth, right? When you have that, and then it makes me question why we have been using our gift of voice and sound to poison our people, not we, but the music industry, right? And how these songs have been putting these drugs in our system, these ideas that we need to be small, demeaning our character and our ways of being, right? And I think a time is coming now where, well, it is, as you all know what's happening in the entertainment industry, and we don't need to go into it. It is all over, right? But it's blowing up right now, right? Yeah. So it makes me think about, how do we now use the gift of sound, use Tru Culture, right? Use what our ancestors, literally on your shirt, right? Where it doesn't have to sound like the pop, right? It's that soul healing. How do you think we can come to a space where we're remembering what our ancestors have done with sound to create the space that we're in that we're maybe not honoring or holding as sacred? That's the question.
So I didn't fully answer the first question.
Yes.
Yes. One of the things that I do in my spare time is I started a brand, for lack of a better term, called the Tru Culture, where we honor and highlight specific stories that eventually will no longer be told, right? If somebody doesn't make the effort to make sure that they continue to be told, or they are consistently told, and become a part of common knowledge. And so one thing that I do is I learn about, people that I might have been taught about or people that I didn't know. And I put together a quick, reel or breakdown on synopsis of their story. And I try to design a piece, that's aligned with what I've learned, basically. It's a great exercise for me to learn and to share, because sometimes you learn more by sharing as well. You ever read something or learn something new and you just want to tell somebody?
Yep.
So at the end of my work day, I work in a corporate space, corporate environment. It's a way to use a different part of my brain. And the reason why I was saying there's some synergy with me being here with you, beautiful ladies, is the knowledge that you have, right, about people that I can continue to learn about and highlight their stories. Eventually, though, what I get to is there seems to be consistent conversation about the strengths and the magic and the power that we have as a people. But I'm not as knowledgeable as I can and, eventually want to be and can be. But I don't understand why we haven't taken all those powers to achieve a common goal. And I often think about why that could be the case, because I feel like there's a lot of conversation about how powerful, how smart, how beautiful, in certain circles. Maybe that's the echo chamber that I'm in, right, where I'm hearing that theme consistently. But I'd love to sit at the feet of elders and people that are more experienced to try to understand the patterns between certain experiences, whether it's a life experience or somebody's biography, to understand how they went to achieve a certain goal, right? When I think about Huey and his goal, or Assata and her goals, or Malcolm and his goals, or Marcus Garvey and his goals, maybe because my lack of understanding when I'm perceiving their story, I'm not understanding why we weren't able to surmount or overcome. So yeah, that's oftentimes where my mind goes.
Yeah.
And that's often what I look for while I'm listening.
Yeah.
Which doesn't answer the question that you asked, but adds more context to the question I didn't answer earlier.
There's a consciousness that you have
Okay.
that I'm going to ask you to amplify.
Okay.
Do not look at the deficit, look at the possibility.
Okay.
It's challenging.
Yes.
Because possibility exists in the face of non-agreement.
Okay.
But you have to choose it, and choose it powerfully. When you will attract exactly what you create. There's an ashe that we all have. the power to create is what Ashe means. So when y'all be saying Ashe, it ain't amen. It's the manifestation. As you call on that energy, choose the language carefully.
Okay.
Because what you say is what you're going to get more of.
Gotcha. Right.
So it's not a question of why didn't we? It's what have we?
I see.
It's not a question of why haven't we? It's what is possible now. What, if it were present, would provide the opportunity for that to exist?
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So as you think, so you get to be and do.
Right.
Choose your language carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
Because as we think, so we are. Like Bootsy says, free your mind, your ass will follow. Okay, you know that's my favorite philosophy.
I was about to say, y'all remember that from episode
The only
5.
other person that I love as much is Prince.
Okay.
And
can't
he's
go wrong.
profound.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Like, you're not alone with this, like, philosophy of why aren't we? Like, what's the people that preceded us, like, also conditions were a lot more intense in a way, and yet they were able to literally go to China, learn acupuncture, bring it back, create healing for the community, all while the government was literally burning shit down, killing individuals, and then figuring out that acupuncture heals like heroin addicts, and it helped them detox and help them get sober. So the government didn't want that shit to keep happening. So then it leaves our generation, right? Where we are so divided, right? So to give context, like Jima, we have been frustrated. Like, our generation has been frustrated because you have people like myself, you have people like Ojoré, right? Who are really trying to say, hey, look, the blueprint is right here. Here you go. Hey, look, like, we're not supposed to be these lone bats. Invite people into the cave. Like we should be doing this together. And a lot of us are individually focused and striving for the next bag, right? A lot of us are too tired to care about community once we are done with our corporate endeavors, right? A lot of us are too self-centered to take a walk out of work and to look for a sign from spirit that says, hey, this is the message for today, right? So the frustration, as you can like feel it in my voice, even when we think we're building these colonies and these communities. You remember Afro House?
Yeah.
Where is it now?
A vibe.
Where is it?
Great question.
Exactly. Great question.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't know frustration. I'm 73 years old. You want to know frustration? In 1969, when I graduated from high school, I believed the revolution was happening. And it was televised. Now it's on Instagram and every place else. But the revolution that did not take place was mass mind shift. But what did take place was mass numbing down. So, where does it exist? It exists inside of the desire. So today is number 9, right? 9 is really important. 9 is Oya. Oya is quick change, rapid change.
Yes.
We've got storms, fires, all of that.
Yep.
Why is it happening? It's happening because Oya rules this year, along with Shango and Olegba, opening it up, closing it, whatever it is. But the rapid change, quick change. Now, if you embrace that, all you have to do is, there was a book I read when I was in 4th grade called Hold Fast to Your Dreams.
Hold fast to your dreams.
Dreaming is an important exercise for existing. If you don't dream, you might as well be dead. The notion of zombie is actually, zombie means spirit, but the notion of zombie as depicted in popular culture is mindless existence without anything. That's because the dream is taken away. I'm saying, dream, you say, what do we do? Sit still and listen. You will know it's not about what you do, it's how you're being. The fact that you could find him in a city like LA means that the dream is still alive. I cannot despair at 73. I will not buy into the old age bullshit.
Yeah.
What I know is the reason I'm sitting here talking with y'all is because it's intergenerational. I am because you are. I and I. Okay? Instagram has this like chicken that gets on there and says these things like deja vu. What is that? Same shit, different day. It's like reflecting on the same shit, right? Another one of them is to remember that if you really want to have clean thoughts, don't let your farts go to your brain, because that's where the shitty thoughts come from, right? Get rid of them, because they don't function for you. Let go of what doesn't work. Remember to take a laxative on New Year's Eve so you don't go into the New Year with the same old shit.
That's a bar.
That's a bar.
Okay?
That's a shirt.
That's a shirt.
You know, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, let's get real about what it is. If you want the notions of wholeness, wellness, living your best life to be present, what is in your life that ain't working? Again, Bootsy said.
What Bootsy say?
He said mine and your ass will follow.
Yeah, see, I messed it up.
It's okay, go either way.
Yeah. We're going to hear it again. We're going to hear it again.
Right.
I would love to amplify the Black man's voice. And I would love for us to learn from you, because I think there's also this piece, especially in our generation, where those of us who might identify or who might be perceived as the Black women, it's this like independent, we got the master's degrees, right? We go into the 6-figure fields, and like our Black men are kind of left there to figure it out. And then we have this idea, but you need to be a provider, and it's like, well, been trying, but they're not giving me the positions that they're giving you. So I would love to hear, what is your wisdom for us today? What would you like to share?
I got to start in gratitude. I have to start there to be able to have this conversation, to sit with somebody with your knowledge and the perspective shift that you just gave right now. That's just one example of the different ways that I can grow and I can learn. So I got to start with gratitude, you know. I think that helps with that perspective shift, and not looking at what you said was not looking at the deficit, but looking at the possibility. That for me, that starts with gratitude, right? I'm grateful that I get to approach
exactly
the situation, right? I'm grateful that I've been blessed with all the magic that we can talk about, and that, you know, dominates a lot of, you know, spaces. I'm grateful for that I have the opportunity to solve this challenge, right? That I get the chance to achieve those possibilities. So I have to start there personally, just because it helps with my own mental health and well-being, to just begin and just, you know, that really helps me contextualize any particular challenge, right? I'm grateful I get a chance to conquer this. So I have to start there. I'm grateful for Black women. Black women are very powerful people, you know? Especially right now, every trend is either created by or approved by Black women, you know? One of the reasons why they're excelling, I think right now they're the most educated group, and have been for some time. And there's nothing like having that battery in your back. So I got to start in gratefulness. And then the alignment, what you were mentioning earlier about the number 9, I just recently learned about the patterns there as well, which for me is just more of a signal of how aligned this conversation is, which again, I'm grateful for. So, it starts and ends there with me. There are a couple other things that I wanted to piggyback on, or at least acknowledge that you had mentioned. But I want to start by first accepting, right, the change or the advice or the alternative approach, right, before going anywhere else.
This is a conversation.
Yeah.
It's a discourse.
Gotcha.
It's not like
But
together we're going to create something here.
Mm-hmm.
I do not exist as this archive by
Right,
myself.
right.
We are the collective archive.
Understood.
So what you're saying is fine, but I want to say something else to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody has a role.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care, it's not about gender. I don't care what genitalia you got.
Yeah.
It's about every human being has a function
Mm-hmm.
in the universe, just like bats have a function, ants have a function,
Mm-hmm.
birds have a function,
Yes.
plants have a function, because the Creator said in harmony, these things create workability and livability. So I don't care whether you got a job or whether you're a stay-at-home dad or whether you are whatever you are. There's no judgment about how your role is manifest.
Mm-hmm.
All that matters is that you understand the relationship. Now, you got a good relationship with your mama.
That's a fact.
I know that. That's why you could sit in this room with us.
That's a fact. Everything I know is because of how,
your mama.
Yeah, how she curated that curriculum.
You know, so there's another
Let him
stupid
finish,
thing. I just
Eva.
want to say this.
Okay.
God gave,
It's okay.
God,
It's okay.
no, God had these last two things. You probably see this on Instagram somewhere too. God gave these last two traits or abilities to, and so Adam said, "Okay, yeah, I want to be able to pee standing up."
Mm-hmm.
And then women said, "Oh yeah, but I want to be able to give birth."
Mm.
Okay, we all have a function.
Right.
We all have these strengths. The point being, women's birth things, whether you're a mother, whether you're a creator, whether you're an artist, whether you're a community organizer, whether you're a healer, women birth things. It's
Yeah.
in the nature
Right.
of it. Not that men don't, but who we are as human beings are integrated human beings with male and female energy. That means that you have the ability to create. You just have to tap into that.
Right.
You have got a good female balance in your energy
Nice.
with that smooth voice because we can hear you.
Yeah.
It's the
It is very-
vibration.
it's very
It's the
calming.
vibration. It's not the sound, it's the vibration.
Yeah.
It's the way of
It's
being.
like safety.
Yeah.
Your voice has a lot of safety in it.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah. So child, please.
Now let him finish.
Don't be humble.
Yes, ma'am. I think there's a theme behind what we're talking about. And I think that's of symbiosis and balance, right? Everybody has a function, everybody has a role. The difference between, whatever, we're judging the differences between how symbiotic that is, right? And I think that going back to one of what we were talking about earlier, the question that I posed around, I said, why not? But you corrected me about the possibilities.
I didn't correct you. I
Okay.
offered an alternative perspective.
The alternative, which I agree with, which is a much better alternative, which I did not weigh until you brought that up. That's why I'm grateful for it. And that synergy, like why haven't we all reached whatever? Or what are the possibilities that can help us reach whatever? I think it's an understanding that symbiosis, right? And so I think in order to understand that I need you, you need me, we work together to reach a common goal, which is what I would assume to be the ultimate goal. And I can see, because of how large Africa is and how many different types of people there are, I can see how that can be a challenge. So if that is the goal, and if we overcome that, where we begin to respect and appreciate everything that's brought to the table equally, holistically, how do we get our current population on that same accord, right? Mm-hmm. And that is also one of the motivations behind the Tru Culture. You said earlier, I know what true means to you, but you listed off, things that are synonymous with what really is being true, authentic and genuine. For me, TRU is an acronym for to reach understanding.
There you go.
Because the goal is, if we approach most situations, which I tried my best to be very intentional about approaching this conversation with the goal to learn and to reach understanding. If we all approach multiple conversations like that, or multiple types of new information, you kind of described it when you talked about your educational background and how to approach, history or ethnicities or whatever it is with the right reverence. I think it gives us an intellectual posture of humility, which makes it a lot easier to share and a lot easier to listen. And we're humans at the end of the day. And most humans
That part.
have an ego,
Yes.
right? And oftentimes ego gets in the way. Ego, whatever you want to, whatever it is, there's other names for it, but
Edging God out.
yeah, edging God out, or self-preservation, or, falsely lifting up yourself. Everybody has that. And I think it takes a certain amount of work to understand that, to quiet that, and to use the wisdom to when you need to pull that out, But in my experience, having a posture of intellectual humility, quiets your own and also helps quiet those of others because they get a chance to be themselves as they describe their experience. So for me, my goal that a goal that I'm thinking of prioritizing and I'm attempting to through the Tru Culture is to honor and to encourage more people to have that intellectual posture. I do it by not only highlighting, African American and African heroes and people whose stories that need to be told, but also other, races and cultures as well. I'd like to learn better ways to encourage people to be more
She asked me not to say anything.
Wait, let me finish.
willing to listen or have a posture of an intellectual posture of humility. It would be cool to spur a movement around that. If more people walked around
have.
with that energy.
You
Yes. And maybe scale the movement.
Okay.
Yeah, so it reaches more and it becomes a way of being where it becomes true common sense, right?
Yes.
Everybody doesn't have common sense, even though we call it common sense. But what if common sense was approaching situations with a respectful objectivity, or approaching any situation, whether it's my experience or somebody else's experience, to really step back, look at what's going on with the intent to work together. My intent is to work together. So let me step back, look at what's going on, who else is around me that I can work together with to achieve whatever goal it is. So I would say that's my goal, and that's one option that I think can help us. Because like I said, Africa's huge, right? There's a lot of people with different goals, and I think that the groups that chose to try to conquer exploited that. So yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah. I think just melanation in general is huge. And the reason why I wanted to lend that is because there's also this concept that if you look like this, then you definitely came from Africa, right? But there's a lot of us who are from here, like America, and there's a lot of stories about tribes across the globe here who came together with some of the freedmen, right? With some of the people who escaped. And it's time for us on the native side and the African side and the black side and all of the in-between to realize we are literally siblings. Like, we are siblings. And if we were to come together from that space of common sense, as you're saying, understanding that it goes so much further than color, that it goes so much further than you're from over there. No, well, I'm from over here. We are human beings. And
That part. I gotta jump in here. First of all, race is a construct that was created to legitimize imperialism. So it's not races. There are groups of ethnic communities that are all over the globe. So drop race and deal with human beings who create cultural ways of expressing themselves that are unique with a worldview and a way of being in the universe that either works in harmony or does not. I would like to offer you,
Yes, ma'am.
by dropping the race construct
Okay.
and dealing with the fact that we are human, you then have access to the commonality. Now, I know I'm different
Right.
than a lot of folks. And as much as I love Afrocentric thinking and ways of being and expressions, I am from Jersey. I am from Newark, New Jersey. I'm a nigga from Newark, okay? Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
And my stuff be like that. I don't tear my greens. I cut them with a scissor. I buy my chickens from the livery. I kill them myself. I fry them.
Facts.
And I use swan flour to batter them.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't use buttermilk.
Oh, wow.
That's how I fry my chicken
Yeah,
when
it's
I'm
different.
frying chicken.
Okay.
Okay, that part. But as a person who understands cultural forms and ways of expression, they reflect a worldview. You embody all that Mississippi magic, even though you came from Pacoima. Okay? Because it don't go away. It's in your human DNA.
Right.
It's in your cultural DNA. It's in the way that you speak. It's in the way that you be. It's the way that you interface. You will find like beings, like you. Some of them conscious and some of them sleep. I want you to just keep creating and understand that the opportunities and the possibilities live inside of the progressive perfection that you are.
Let that land. The progressive perfection that you are. So we are headed towards the close of Into the Cave. I'm not sure if you know. I know you know. There's always an experiential portion that we close with. And it's never prepared. So this is what came through.
Okay.
And I would like for your consent and your consent. So I'll explain what came through. Similar to I would say the synchronicity that you shared about how the number 9 and how she brought up 9 and you're like, oh man, I was already going down the rabbit hole of the 9, right? The synchronicity of you walking through the door with Nina Simone on your shirt, and I'm like, my aunt, right? I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Spirit is here, right? February 21st is her birthday. And this is an episode in February for Black History
Which breaks
Month.
down to a 5.
There you go. Back to the original episode that she was on. So, what I would love is to do an ancestral practice. And this is the vision that I have, okay? So we will open with, you're going to tell the story, you're going to talk to the audience of Nina Simone. While you are telling the story, I will be singing some of her songs underneath you as you are talking about it. Once you are done with the story, we then will go to Jima. In Jima, I would like for you to tap into your ancestral lineage that's running through your blood and offer something to the audience. Are we all aligned?
I have one challenge.
Yes.
I do not feel like the best option or prepared enough to honor Nina's legacy with a proper narration. I'd be willing to substitute roles for Jima.
No.
Oh,
You need to. No, that's
Yes, ma'am.
unacceptable.
yes, ma'am.
All you have to do is speak what you know. That is the truth.
Okay.
All you
Okay.
have to do is be. Look,
Someone
You know?
sees you walking down the street.
Right.
This is the scenario. Here we go.
Gotcha,
Okay.
gotcha.
Someone sees you walking down the street. They've never heard of this person. They're captivated by this shirt. Who is this? Who's this person? And trust that the energy will speak for itself.
Okay.
Right?
Understood.
They can look at Netflix to see the film they did on her.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm
you
just
need
gonna say
to
what she means to me.
Exactly. There
That's
you go.
it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That's
all right. Okay.
it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you.
Also, there's another documentary called The Amazing
Yes.
Nina Simone
Yes.
that isn't on Netflix, that was actually funded by my family members, that they stand behind, the true story. So you can look that up.
Okay, and look up her daughter. Her daughter is still alive, and she does a lot of work around her mother's songs.
Yeah.
The other
and did a
thing
lot
is,
to protect her legacy as well.
Exactly. She said, I met her in East St. Louis.
Oh, nice.
So, you know, there's only a few people I don't know, but there are some. But what I'm saying to you is speak your truth, boo.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
There's also, like, if you guys really dig, on the page, you will find an interview that I did with my uncle, Sam Wayman, and he goes deep into his relationship
Right.
with Nina. Okay? So, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so now
Yes, ma'am.
I'm waiting with bated breath.
From my experience and from what I've learned about Miss Nina Simone is that she was and is a powerful voice, a great narrator of a very particular experience, and a strong woman who experienced a lot of hardship, you know, mentally, with her family. And as she began to learn her voice, she helped us find ours. She's known for a lot of powerful songs. Some you may have heard, some you may have not have heard. I love her depiction of Strange Fruit, for instance. I love the formal training mixed with the informal training that her life provided her. When I think of Nina Simone, I think of strength, resilience, and beauty throughout a very complex life. And I'm inspired to be resilient and be persistent in my pursuit of a recognition of the possibilities, and to learn from her and stand on the shoulders of her voice, and to use her voice as a soundtrack for me as I'm going through my own challenges. A beautiful woman in every way. I inspire you to learn what you know, or what you can know about Nina Simone. A beautiful woman, through and through. Yeah.
What's your favorite song?
I'm gonna go with Strange Fruit for right now. I like the way it makes me feel as a man.
What made you put the shirt on today?
She reminds me of you a little bit. And from what I know about your relationship, and the relationship that Nina had with her daughter, I thought about the juxtaposition and the contrast between that and your relationship, from what I know about it.
Okay, Gina. What do the ancestors have to say?
You know, I'm sitting here, and what's prominent in my mind right now are the ancestors who've recently passed. And there's a number of them who have been transitioning in their 90s and in their 80s. This week, two of my inspirations transitioned, Nikki Giovanni and Lorraine O'Grady, for different reasons. they inspired me. Lorraine O'Grady, because she was a black woman doing performance art in a white context when everybody else was being part of a cultural revolution that looked a very specific Afrocentric way, but she broadened the narrative of what we could be in terms of performance art. Nikki Giovanni, because she taught me a valuable lesson to get up every morning, look in the mirror, and jump back and kiss myself. She was interviewed and asked, what was the most important thing in life to do? She said, love. Self, family, community, and other human beings. Love. So what's coming through for me in terms of the artistic ancestors is this occupation with a generation that follows me, understanding that love is a radical act. It's a revolutionary act in the context of disagreement, of suppression, and the world going to hell in a handbasket. Love is all that there is. And without love, what is there? You know, Christians say that God loved us so much, he gave us his only begotten son. Well, I got something else for you. God loved us so much, he said, you are the son. Woo! You are the son. And you don't have to be crucified because you're not the Messiah, but who you really are is your ancestors' dreams manifest. You're our dreams. You're the future. Not Afrofuturistic, because I don't believe in that. I believe it's a continuum. Ain't nothing stopped. I ain't post-black. I'm going to be black because what else am I going to be? And black is not the color of my skin. It's my way of being that anchors me in a legacy of blood memories that I don't have to get a transfusion or some other shit. What I get to be is authentically present. So what's coming through for me is ancestors saying, love, love, love. You know, I sound like a damn Beatle, right?
I was just in my head.
Sound like a Beatle. But you have to understand that even they had to look at black culture in order to articulate what was missing in British culture.
Woo.
You know, and they claimed it. They claimed it. They said, hey, listen, them black folks, they got it going on. I could go through a whole bunch of folks, but it's whether it's indigenous cultures in any place in the universe, the core of all of it is love. And so what's coming through is the power of love as an act of resistance, resilience, and recreation, and more. I repeat, resistance, revolution, repeat. Resistance, revolution, repeat. And that's the mantra for me. Repeat. Resilience, revolution, repeat. And it's all anchored in love.
Very well said.
Very well said. I love you. You got that?
I did.
I love you too, Boobala. You know, so that's from the days when I worked in the garment industry with all them Jews. And one of the things they call each other is Boobala, which means my beloved. I love it. So I call my children Boobala. Asheto y Banecho.
Thank you.
And so it is.
Later.
Later.